Our elders' voices are our beacon of truth, and the science and research are just a small supporting piece.
Everything in life has a pin in it. We don't make any decisions without thinking about this situation.
We need to figure out the next steps of, respectfully for that ancestor, because that's a person.
The other day, I was working on some reports, the usual. It's communism taking over Canada, more men in women's bathrooms, carny Canadians with their elbows up so high they are officially punching themselves in the faces. And then something else came to mind. Where are the bodies? And no, I'm not talking about the Kamloops First Nation band's false claim to have discovered 215 children in unmarked graves at their former residential school, when the truth is it's been 5 years and not a single body's been found. I'm talking about another BC band government, the Sechelt First Nation, which made similar unmarked grave discovery claims in 2023 and again in 2025. And like Kamloops, received a lot of tax dollars in doing so, yet here we are, without actual proof. I'm Drea Humphrey with Rebel News, and since the legacy media won't do it, I'm bringing you the latest on what I could and could not find out about the Sechelt's 81 unmarked grave claims.
Today we announce an additional 41 unmarked graves found, bringing our total to 81. These findings and the areas scanned were all driven by the stories and the memories of our survivors, our elders, and family members who have been carrying these truths and burdens with strengths for many, many years.
It's been almost 1 year since the Sechelt band's chief Lenora Joe made that claim last August, and 3 years since the band's first unmarked grave claim of 40 graves. And do you hear that? Radio silence. Silence from the media outlets that reported the claim without challenging it. Silence from the BC legislature, which lowered its Canadian flag to half-mast upon hearing about it. And silence from the Sechelt, aka Sechelt band, that's cashed in on investigation funds after saying it. That's right. From what I can find, the Sechelt band has received close to $2.7 million tax dollars from the federal government's residential schools missing children community support funding. We also know that their residential school site was among the sites eligible to receive up to $470,000 from the province to support investigations. So what has the Sechelt band's funded investigation found? I don't know. The band once again has failed to respond to my reasonable inquiries, trying to get you the answers you deserve. The RCMP hasn't done much better. The BC Coroner's Service, the office I'm guessing you would expect to engage on your fact-finding mission if you truly believed you had discovered the remains of nearly 100 missing children. Well, they responded by confirming they have not been involved in any investigation into the Sechelt band's claims to have discovered unmarked graves, and also confirmed that they are respectfully willing to work with any First Nation in the future. But instead of relying on such reliable resources as the BC Coroners or RCMP for the truth of their discovery, Chief Joe and the band seem to be relying on this ground-penetrating radar. That's right. The same technology the Kamloops band made their false 215 claim with, which Rebel News challenged from the start. Except unlike with the Kamloops band, which eventually backpedaled on some of its sensational language and is now saying they've discovered 200 probable graves or anomalies, Chief Joe is standing firm when she tells you she's found 81 unmarked graves. And it seems it's because this is all the evidence she needs to do so.
This work isn't complete. We will continue to work with our GPR team, the archival researchers, and we will continue our efforts to healing and truth. Our elders' voices are our beacon of truth, and the science and research are just a small supporting piece.
That's right. Forget science. Oral tales are where it's at, because they're always true, especially when it comes to something as important as missing children. Except Chief Joe's oral claims to have found 81 unmarked graves related to missing children who attended St. Augustine, well, they don't align with the facts at all. In fact, the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation Initiative lists 0 missing children related to that school on their Children in Unmarked Burials initiative. Instead, they list the names of 12 former students who unfortunately died during the school's 60 years of operation. To put that in perspective, I know 3 students who died during the 5-year period I attended high school. Not to mention, a quick search on indianresidentialschools.com, which shows what actually happened to some of these students, shows that they died, you guessed it, by illness, a couple of accidents, and that they died in hospitals and then were taken to their planned burials elsewhere. And can you riddle me this? Why is it that when a First Nation band claims to have discovered residential kids' remains in graves or the graves for them, kids that would have come from all over the province to that school, it's suddenly okay for the band to just sit on the claim with no sense of urgency, no sense of repatriation? But when white Canadians stumble upon old Indigenous remains by digging, like the Rios in Ontario did when building their retirement homes, suddenly their life is turned upside down. Repatriation becomes of the utmost importance, and those must be returned, to the point that the finder is the one being punished for doing the right thing by digging and letting them know what they found.
Everything in life has a pin in it. We don't make any decisions without thinking about this situation.
We need to figure out the next steps of, respectfully for that ancestor, because that's a person.
A 2002 Ontario law triggered what came next. The Rayos were ordered by Ontario's Registrar of Burials to launch what's called a burial site investigation.
And a thorough burial site investigation, unlike whatever the bands have been doing with the millions of tax dollars they've been given to investigate. In fact, the Rios could be personally on the hook for as high as $1 million because of their discovery. But maybe it's not as bad as it looks. Maybe the band did put a shovel in the ground after all. It's just that unlike the few bands who've been transparent by excavating and telling us they found nothing, the Sechelt band prefers to keep you and the truth in the dark. While the funds keep a-flowing, the churches stay under attack, our country's false genocidal label sticks, and our young adults in their orange shirts no longer can critically think. Drea Humphrey for Rebel News. At Rebel News, we don't back down from bringing you the other side of the story, even when it's controversial to do so. That's why we expose this important issue about unmarked grave claims across the country from the start. And if you appreciate that we're still doing so, please go to our special website called kamloopsdocumentary.com and donate what you can.